So guys, this is the second part that I promised you. If you haven't seen part one yet, you might want to go back and watch part one. I'll put the link in the end of the description. So this might seem a little abrupt with the cut, but I'm going to jump right into the Meet Kevin situation and go down the line until the end. So this is part two of the conspiracy against the YouTubers. So this quick clip is from Meet Kevin, and he's basically talking about the same thing that I'm bringing up right now. This is from July 23rd, and the video is entitled, "This Has to Stop."
Disgusting state of censorship in this country. First, we're going to talk about Matt Kohrs. Then we're going to talk about 4 forms of censorship that I have experienced since launching my campaign for governor. And we're also going to talk about massive issues with the media. Also, towards the end of this video, I will be revealing what has been happening to my YouTube income since launching my campaign, and I'll also provide you a teaser as to what's coming tomorrow. So we've got a lot to talk about, and I'm a little pissed because it starts with outrage. Matt Kohrs earlier today was deleted from YouTube, entirely deleted, for covering stocks, but apparently getting flagged as someone who was sharing hateful and harmful content, and therefore his identity was completely deleted from YouTube. I invited Matt Kohrs on my channel to discuss.
Now, Meet Kevin goes on to talk about how he can't use Meet Kevin in his name for the gubernatorial debates and just registering as a candidate for governor of California. He can't use Meet Kevin, but then he shows in a news article that a CEO who had a nickname Slim, he can use that. He can use that nickname for running for governor. Yet Meet Kevin has a whole car decked out. It's got Meet Kevin writing all over the car. And this is the problem, right? You allow these people to take our freedoms and squash them, and you give them a rope, and the next thing you know, they want to be a cowboy. That's a problem. We are getting stepped on. The Constitution is getting stepped on. And don't take it from me. They think we're dangerous. They think some of this is hate speech. Don't listen to me, though. Listen to the former SEC Commissioner, Laura Unger.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it doesn't what make this harder that it's all happening on social media? I mean, how do you define market manipulation when you're talking about the internet and social media and blogs?
Well, if people actually are saying, let's all buy 1,000 shares now to drive up the price, I would say that sounds like market manipulation to me. Whether they're really doing it, who's the person that's saying?
Never mind the hedge funds market manipulation or their corruption. They're worried about social media and YouTube creators and people on Reddit and Twitter.
Saying it, what's their interest in raising that stock price, and what's the actual impact? The problem is if the regulators do nothing and this happens, it really puts a lot of question about the integrity of the market, right? And
oh yeah, that it puts a lot of question about the integrity in the market from YouTube creators talking about AMC and GME. No mention here of the hedge funds manipulation, of dark pools, of FTDs, of algorithmic trading. None of that's manipulation, but we're the problem. Again,
really kind of everybody's scratching their heads over this. What should happen? What is the right thing
How
to
about
do
nothing?
To control this or stop this? Not unlike what we saw on January 6th at the Capitol, right? If you don't have the police in there at the right time, things go a little crazy.
And there it is. As soon as you want to tie those two things together, we have a problem. Because we're not attacking the Capitol building, right? We aren't storming the Capitol. We're talking about a stock that we like, a company we enjoy that we don't want to see go bankrupt, and about market manipulation by big money that's backed up by the government and that is propped up by mainstream media. But we're the problem. And as soon as you start putting those two ideas together of January 6th and YouTube creators being one and the same, major red flags should be going up. Major red flags. So this video is Alejandro Mayorkas, who is the head of Homeland Security. And he is talking about how the U.S. is battling domestic extremism post-Capitol riot, This is on Vice News, and she is trying to get to the bottom of how do you find these extremists that are insurrectionists. And look what Mayorkas said. Now, mind you, she doesn't ask him anything about the crisis at the border. In this 14-minute interview she does, not one mention, this is the Director of Homeland Security, not one question about what's going on at the border. While we have 1 million people coming over the border in the last 6 months from 111 different countries. Watch what he talks about.
I know that the U.S. does not designate domestic terrorists here as individuals and groups. Would it be helpful if we did do that?
I don't think it's that critical that we do so, because what we do is we identify the actions, determine whether those actions are in violation of law, and we have the tools under the law to address the actions. If in fact they cross the line into criminality, we have the tools. I think also what we are seeing by and large, not necessarily exclusively, but by and large, is not the traditional organized structure with an organization chart, leadership positions, but rather an affiliation of people connected by social media, by communications. And so very often some of these ideologies, some of these movements of hate, if you will, aren't organized in the traditional sense, but are loose affiliations. We have lone actors. They're able easily to communicate with one another via social media and actually, to some extent, try to remain below the radar screen. And that's what creates such a challenge for law enforcement, quite frankly. Add on top of that, Liz, if I may, cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah.
And it becomes even that much more difficult.
I know part of
So that's the Director of Homeland Security talking with Vice News, not about the border crisis, but about people on social media who may be related to domestic terrorism and extremism, which is what the former SEC commissioner just compared us to. And here is Mayorkas talking about cryptocurrencies. It's all intertwined. The media, the government, and Wall Street are all intertwined. Why does he want to attack cryptocurrencies? Because as the value of the dollar goes away, and we aren't able to bomb countries into extinction anymore if they don't accept it, this becomes a problem. And he's saying it right there. Social media, they're going to be able to connect these dots. And it may seem like a leap right now, and you guys might say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but there will come a point in time when they're going to say, you know what, it's just too risky. Like Laura Unger just said, talking about that we're manipulating the market, we're the bad apples in this bunch, that they need to protect Wall Street from social media and YouTube creators. Not the hedge funds, but the creators. That's all I've got for today, guys. Let me know down in the comments. Do I sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist? Or am I making valid points? Do you guys understand where I'm coming from? And please let me know if you're from another country so I can put your pin up on the board. And guys, thank you again for all your support. If you want to like the video, subscribe to the channel, you know the drill. This is Ape Nation. I'm the Massalorian, and I'm out.